Hi. I feel like I know a lot of, all of you? Do I know all of you? Have you? Yes. Oh, great. That makes it easy so you know that it's going to be a fun 2 hours. Because you'll do your mindfulness in the afternoon. I was invited to mindfulness, and I was like, why? Why do you think I need mindfulness? Like,
Just be.
what does that mean?
Is the channel?
Go look at it and see what happens.
Green lights.
It says recording.
Okay, great. We'll just beep to us. Fine. My favorite part is when people see it, they'll be like, she does not know. Like, they don't know what this contraption looks like right now. They don't know the extension cord. They have no idea. They think like I'm professional, and I put on mascara, and I blow-dried my hair. Just to fake it, and then it beeps, and we don't know what to do. Oh well. So, you all know what my job is, right? I hang out with the hard kids. I do workshops, obviously. That's why I'm here. And in my job, I get so many. This is the title of this workshop is "I Need Your Help. Party Poopers Need Not Apply," because we are in this field and people are fighting me all the time on the same things over and over and over and over and over again, and they're usually things I'm not going to back down on. So I talk a lot about them, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do a workshop. I was either going to call it that or That's Pretend. That was the other name for this workshop, because people would say to me, oh, well, we should do this. And I'm like, oh, that's pretend. That's not a real thing that you would do with children. It's not a real thing you would do with humans. You would do stuff like that with dogs, right? And even sometimes dogs, it doesn't work. I have a chocolate lab puppy that is bonkers. So my husband is even-keeled like this, and very quiet, and thoughtful, and logical, and precise. And then my son, who was born with my humor and my energy. And then I have a chocolate lab that will be a puppy his whole life. And then there's me, and my poor husband's like, what did and he just gets lost sometimes. And we're like, where did Daddy go? He's up on the couch with his motorcycle earplugs in, like this on the couch. We're like, Daddy, what are you doing? And he's like, well, how did you find me? We're like, we were yelling for you, we couldn't find you anywhere. My poor husband. And when I get excited, I get loud. And my son's loud anyway. My son talks like I do. Like, if you take a breath, if you're talking, you take a breath or sneeze or yawn or anything, it's like, but we just like insert ourselves. My husband has not spoken in whole sentences that we have not interrupted in 6 years, because my son is 6. So, yeah. So I just have a hard time with a lot of things we do in early childhood, and I think it's because, first of all, we learn it in school, and so we think, oh, some professor got hired and we were taught this, so we're going to do it. And I was like, or people who are like way up, way, right? If it's a corporate childcare center, there are people that are like, I was trying in a childcare center not to have them use the loop walk things, the ropes, because they would always put the kid that I was there for at the end, and he would do this and pull all the kids down. And I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, well, wouldn't you? If you're hard and you're having a hard time and you can't figure out why, and you think things are funny that no one else thinks is funny, and you get put at the end, because they're like, well, we have to put him at the end, otherwise he hits people. I don't know, that might be better. So to get this rope away from the classroom and to stop using it, it was like 7 people deep. It was like the director, and then the boss of the director, then the boss of the boss's director, and then the so like, I was like, oh, how about I come in tonight and I'll just cut holes in the loops. Right, the toddlers have it on, and they have mittens on, and it's like up here, and they're trying to walk. Like, I'm like, oh, these things, right, with these people who make these rules, and it's not something that they've been in. I think a lot of people maybe listen to what I say because I was in, right, who you do, right, the 4.5, 5, 6-year-old job?
I was. Yeah.
Was. Okay, so I had your job in a childcare setting for 10 years, so I know, like, okay, I'm gonna do all that stuff. I remember having to spray the table with the stuff the kids couldn't touch, but you had to wait 2 minutes. So I'm spraying it, and the kids come up, I'm like, don't touch the table! Don't! then I'm like, don't touch the table till I rinse it. So I'm like, the table, and then it's finally time to rinse it, and I rinse it, and then you have to let it dry. And they come over, I'm like, don't touch the table! It's dry, and they're like, what's wrong with you? I think probably kids leave thinking, there's something wrong with my teacher. In kindergarten, I have to call like, I don't know, 75 kids and be like, I'm sorry I was bonkers. Because now that I know behavior, I overwhelmed so many kids in my class. So many kids. But I didn't know at the time. I thought I was like, yay, fun and friendly. Well, not every kid needs fun and friendly and loud. And they're thinking like, back up, lady. Every day a girl came in and I was like, hey, Lydia, you're here. And she would always hide behind her mom. And I thought, if I'm just like more welcoming and louder and fun, she's gonna, which made her hide behind her mom more, but that didn't click with me. So we're gonna talk about stuff that we see in education all the time, and it's not working. And I need your help to change it. And if you're a boo, hister, mister, first of all, I don't know why you're working in early childhood in the first place, but keep the boo, hister, mister to yourself, because I don't want to hear it. So, someone told me how to say this guy's, I don't even know if it's a guy or girl. Dr. H-A-I-M. Chaim Gano?
Yeah, sure.
Sure, right? I don't know. Someone told me once that knew how to say it, and I was like, I'm not going to remember that ever. But, we know if it's a he or she?
Nope.
Okay, we're going to say it's a...
It's a he.
Okay, it's a he. Yeah, it's a he. Right, and now, if anybody watches this, they're going to text me like, it's a she, and it's pronounced this way, and I'm going to get in trouble. And okay, I just saw... Right, you know that I have squirrels that live in my brain that do this. So, I saw it, and I thought about it, but I didn't think until right now, oh, maybe I should learn how to pronounce it, or is it a boy or girl? I don't know any of that. Maybe someone look it up on their phone right now and then tell me. Do it right now. They can't see you doing it. So it says, I've come to the frightening conclusion that I am the decisive element in the classroom. Yes. Is that true? Kids that I work with that have good years have teachers that know how to work with the kids. I'm not saying they're good teachers or bad teachers. I'm saying that that particular teacher knows how to work with the kid. If there is a child who's having a hard year, it's because why? The teacher, right, mismatches them. Almost always is that the case. Oh, we had a better year this year because the teacher, I just got one in the car that said, I just wanted you to, I worked with this little boy in kindergarten, he would have been asked to leave, but it was the end of the year of a center. And I worked in homes, and I've helped the parents, I've talked to the dad, one of the only dads I've ever talked to. Usually it's the moms I talk to. And I got this great, she got this great email, and then she sent me the great email about like how excited these teachers are to have him, and gave the report that I wrote on him and the bots that I did with him, the profile assessment I did with him. And the mom's like, oh my gosh, I had happy tears, I'm just so excited for this year. And I'm like, why? Because we are the decisive element in the classroom. If you have a 3-year-old that wants to come, that has to come to your classroom because their mom works here, or because this is where they chose, or it's closest to home, or whatever, any of those things. Now imagine you walk into the classroom and you don't like this kid. What happens? The kid has zero choice because he's 3. So I have zero choice. No matter how loud I am, I'm still going to come here and you're still not going to like me. And I'm 3 because I can't figure out that if I'm louder and harder, you're going to like me less. I'm trying to get you to like me more. And then imagine you don't have a choice. You have to go back every day for 5 days a week for like 18 months, right? 15 months. So we are the decisive element in the classroom. It is my daily mood that makes the weather. As a teacher, I possess a tremendous power to make a child's life miserable or joyous. I could be a tool of torture or an instrument of inspiration. I can humiliate or humor, hurt or heal. In all situations, it is my response that decides whether a crisis will be escalated or de-escalated and a child humanized or dehumanized. So I always say choose joy, inspiration, humor, healing, de-escalation, and humanization. Choose it today and choose it every day. And is it that easy? No, it's not that easy. We have to leave in early childhood. We have to be these people with this, right, halos. Anybody have a halo? Mine's a little tilted. I always say my halo's held up by my devil horns, right? So if I didn't have devil horns, I wouldn't have a halo. And it's a little tilted. That's the way it's gonna be. I'm very outspoken and tenacious and vocal and a little too rock and roll for early childhood because I have that sweet sensitive piece. I don't train that way. My humor a lot of time covers it. My passion or intensity covers it. I do have that sweet sensitive piece that it usually has to do with people liking me or not liking me. So if you left here and you were like, oh, that was terrible, I would be like, oh my gosh. And if all of you said but one, said, oh, it's great, and one person said it wasn't, well, I would be in my car and I'd cry and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I wasted their time. And I have that piece and we have to leave our baggage at the door, right? Like, I fought with my husband before I got here. I didn't really, but if I had, my son is slower than molasses in the morning. And he's just like, I'm so tired. Yeah, everybody's tired. Let's go, brush your teeth. And he's like, I can't brush my teeth. And I'm like, I'm gonna lose my marbles. So we have to leave our baggage at the door. Is it that easy? No. To leave your baggage, you'll leave it all, like all of it? Or can I bring one in? Like I have 7 bags, like can I bring one bag in? So it's hard to always be joyful, always use humor, always. I think a lot of teachers, when I say like, oh, that's dehumanizing, they're like, no, it's not. And I'm like, yeah. Because we've gotten away with it for a long time. I had a teacher the other day that said they were making give a mouse a cookie bag puppet, and everybody's had to look alike. I have a hard time with that, but I was there watching a kid, and he was having a fun time. So, and she was giving out whiskers, and some other kid was like, because this wasn't meeting his needs, and so he was like, woo, yeah, I love this. And she said, I only give good boys whiskers. What? That's it, right? I wanted to be like, that's pretend. Like what? First of all, no kid is good or bad, right? It's the choices they make. Inherently, we are all born good. And then the choices we make are poor or bad or exciting or wonderful, whatever. And I was like, and only good boys get whiskers. Like where? That is not in a book anywhere that I've ever read. and I'm thinking if I was that little boy, I'd be like, F you, lady, I don't want your whiskers. There, talk about, I'm just gonna fall, right? And if you say only good boys get whiskers, well, does that mean I'm a bad boy? So then I'm just gonna swear at you if I'll fit the mold you already put me in, right? And I thought, oh, she also told me on the playground, there's one little boy, again, it wasn't there for him, but right, I have the eyes for the kids that fall outside the box. So we're outside and this kid like falls right outside, but he's always like kind of testing the rules. And I was like, yeah, I like that. Because right, if you're a rule follower, you're gonna get certain place in life and you have to break them. I'm notorious for breaking rules. I know which ones, right, drinking and driving, I know not to break that one. Stealing, I know not to break that one now. So, he's falling a little bit outside this box and I was like, oh, he is testing the rules. And I said it like that, like it. And she was like, oh, he drives me crazy. Oh, you're not supposed to say that out loud. Or I'm not supposed to see it. Right, we have that power. That's a lot of power for us. Right, imagine going somewhere where you felt trapped and you're like, I can't. Even if we felt trapped about our jobs or the situation we're in at home, you do have a choice. You go around the sun one time, right? Well, I don't know really how many times you go around. Right, it's a Jimmy Buffett song. You have one life. And think like we have choices to get out because we have this power, but we also have the power to make these kids' days better or worse. So we have to remember that, and I think that, first of all, we don't get paid enough for all of that right, power that we have, because 35 cents an hour doesn't really equal how much power we have. And no, if you went to Massachusetts, you get 40 cents an hour. Right, and then people want us to know all this stuff and be angelic and always have this voice, oh buddy, you're having a hard time. And I'm like, I've never had that voice, I can't have that voice. I can't. Anybody? Oh my gosh, I can't. It makes me want to put my eyeballs out when I hear other people. And I don't know how to teach them to like, don't talk like that! Like, I don't know what else to say to them besides, you sound stupid. I had a director say that to me once I went into a school. Hi, Meg, you're here. We're so glad you're here. And I'm looking like, me, Meg? Like the adult Meg standing right here? I'm not 3, in case you didn't know. All day long. She talked to the teachers like that. She talked to the kids like that. I was just like, what's happening right now? Her husband was on the phone. She talked to her husband like that.
Oh.
I was like, no, no. And that can't be your real voice. No one talks like that for real. Stop it. So these are some of the challenges we're going to talk about today. So behaviors, norm, excesses, and deficits, that's one. Humor, oh, we're going to talk about humor. It's going to be fun. Ignoring behavior, sticker charts, putting out fires, win-win relationships, adjustment, and self-sacrificing. We're going to do all of that. Well, we're going to try to do all of that by noon. But you know how I like to tell stories and talk a lot. So we're going to hopefully get through it all. If not, you have the handouts. And look through it all. So a behavior norm is anything that supports or falls within the laws of society, right? So it's, well, like I said, you don't drink and drive. You don't go on your phone when you're driving, right? Almost got caught on the way here. I was trying to put something on Instagram, so if you look on Instagram, you'll see that it would be the time that I was in my car driving here. And there was a guy with the radar, and I looked down and I was like, oh good, I wasn't speeding. And he probably can't see that I was on my phone while I was driving on the highway. So I'm bad at that rule, but, because that's my office, so I was like, well, then, my office is in my car while I'm driving. Like, I get a lot of stuff done in 2 hours while I'm on my way here. Don't tell anybody. Hopefully no police officer ever watches this video. Right? Because they're going to be looking for me. I'm not telling you my license plate number. But right, like drinking and driving, stealing, all the things like stealing road signs. I am thinking of all the ones I have done that I don't do anymore. So hopefully my mom never watches this. I hope my mom's never like, hey, can I watch a video? Nuh-uh. Nope. They're $1,000 a minute. You can't watch any of them. And then, so we're good at behavior norms because the laws make it so that you can't break those. And then when you get to excesses, a behavior excess is something we do too frequently, too long, too much force, strength, or intensity. So for me it is moving, for me it is talking, for me it is humor. If I'm uncomfortable, I'll use humor and it's probably an excess in that situation. But the thing is, people will see my excess as an excess, and for me my talking is a norm. So for my husband, he is tall and handsome, granted. I think strikingly handsome. I hope everybody who's with somebody thinks that they're wonderfully attractive, otherwise that's sad. Pick somebody different, I guess, I don't know. But he's tall and handsome, slow, quiet, and boring. Oh my word, like, duh! So I see, right, the deficit, I see his deficit. So you don't do enough to reap its benefits, it's not long enough, or with enough force, strength, or intensity, right? So for me, my deficit is focus, impulse control, self-regulation. My husband's is moving fast. We were in Nashville, Tennessee. We were on a trip and it was fun and we thought it was going to be warm because you went south, it rained and it was chilly. We were like, what? So I have my coat on and it's really cold and I have my coat on that's not really a coat designed for the weather we were in. and the hood's on, and it's like a fashion hood, but doesn't like cover your ears. It's like really big and like flops. So I have to like hold it like this. So I'm doing this, and I'm walking really fast. I'm fast anyway, and so I'm walking fast, and I turn around, and my husband is 6'5". His legs go to here. Like, watch this, buddy. Are you ready? You're gonna pick up your right leg, and you're gonna go like this, and it's gonna go in front of you, and this leg is gonna cycle right through. Fast! No. I am like this, holding it, walking so fast, I turn around, I'm like, he's like, wait up, he's like 2 blocks away, still down the hill. And I was like, come on! And I'm thinking, don't say what you want to say, don't, right, that's my impulse control, like I want to be like, move it! Like it's cold out, like what? Like I understand you're tougher, and he's like, it's chilly out, well then walk faster. It's the first day I found out that he actually can't. He goes, if I move faster, I will have to bust into a jog. Then bust into a jog. Let's go. But he can't do it. He cannot do it. He's like, no, that's as fast as I can walk. I don't understand. What do you mean that's as fast as you can walk? He's like, literally, I can't, if I walked faster, I would have to like jog a little bit or like, and I'm like, So for me, I was thinking that's a deficit, right? Like, let's go, it's rain. The last time we were in Nashville, it was raining and I had mousse in my hair. All you girls know, like mousse in your hair, what happens when it rains, it gets crusty, right? And I'm like, and then I'm gonna go back out to the bars and I'm not gonna have crusty hair. Like, I'm just not gonna do that. So I'm trying to like run in between the raindrops and I'm sprinting at this point with my cowboy boots on, which hurt a lot, and then I put flip-flops on after. And I was only pretty for a little bit. And then I'm running, and this guy is like, whoa, she's fast, buddy, you gotta catch up with her. And I'm like, and I'm thinking, so I ran track from 5th grade all the way through college, I sprinted. So now I can't sprint fast, I would pull all the muscles in my legs. And I would probably keel over and die. But if it's raining and I'm gonna get crusty hair, I'm not even that high maintenance. I was like, oh, I don't want to go back and dry my hair again. Blah, blah, blah. And my husband also ran track. He threw stuff. He threw the hammer and the weight, so he like went like this and threw things far. But he at one point was a sprinter, and if we were warmed up and stretched out and in shape, and we went to race, he would still win because he's a 6'5" guy who is athletic. So he's still gonna win. But yet it's raining, and he's 3 blocks away. And I was like, hon, just come on, let's go. So the thing is, we see kids, you know the kids who talk all the time in circle, doesn't matter where you move them? They talk in circle and you think, oh, go sit next to her. And, right? So I got moved all the time in school. Meg, go sit over there, and I'm thinking, oh, a new friend? Yay, I love new friends. And even if I didn't like you and I sat next to you, you're gonna be my best friend while I'm sitting there with you. Right, I have a story for all 65 pages of Cat in the Hat. I'm going to tell you all of them all the time. So some people, we see that as an excess, like, oh my gosh. For me, it's a norm. I put myself in a position where I talk to you for 2 hours. Over and over and over and over. And my husband is like, oh my gosh, how do you do that? For 2 hours straight you have to talk? I'm like, yeah. And at the end I'm tired, but I'm still like, yeah. And he's like, oh, that sounds terrible to me. Oh, well, good thing you don't do that then. Right, so I always say, are we excessing and deficiting kids? Are we? I don't know. Sometimes we are. Because it's that mismatch of temperament. It's like, ooh, you aren't doing the things that I think would be in the norm. Right, we see it a lot with kids who are expressive in anger and they throw chairs. That's probably an excess to us and to almost every other adult and the director and everybody who has to deal with this kid. Is it for him? Maybe not. Maybe he's thinking, well, I wanted to throw the table and I thought the chair was a better idea. Right, and it's these kids that are like really, right, we see a lot of kids with deficits that are, you know, the kids at the end of the line like this. You're going this way, right? Inside's that way. And they're like this. I'm thinking, holy moly, little go! I know, because I see that as a deficit. It's a norm for them. They're thinking about it. They're wondering what they're gonna do. It's a norm for them. So for me, what do? Don't be in the back of the line. That's a terrible idea to be in the back of the line for me, because I'm like always patting them, like, come on, let's go. Here we go. Yeah, let's go. Like I'm thinking like we're gonna eat at 3. We're gonna have to skip nap. We're gonna eat at 3 because you're slow. Oh my word. So watch how you are accessing and deficiting kids. And it might truly be an excess or a deficit. But know that if you treat it like that and the kid sees it as their norm, you're gonna get sandpaper, right? You're just gonna be like, shh, 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 shh. So we have to be like, okay, that's an excess for us because why? Because it interrupts our schedule. Kids don't care about our schedule at all. I just talked to a dad the other day. He's like, well, we eat for half an hour and then we do that. Like he had times for everything. And I'm thinking, and the wife is just kind of like, oh yeah, like really flexible and willy-nilly, or he sees her as willy-nilly. And so he like fired her from all the like going to bed jobs, all the jobs that she would help with, or she's now fired. Because she doesn't do it right. Because it's not in time, and it's not the allotted time that he put, like, it's supposed to take us a half an hour to go to bed. It's going to be hard for you, because that's not how that's going to happen. And so he's like, can you help me? And I'm thinking, yep, we will talk to you about flexibility. Yeah. Because the kid's 3. But he knew how to do it, and now I'm like, yeah, because right at 3 you find out, everybody's been telling me I can use my words, I have all this power, and when do they use it? The times they can. Eating, sleeping, going to the bathroom, and potty, right? Eating, sleeping, going to the bathroom, and talking, because they can control all 4 of those things. So, that's what a boy chose, bedtime. And it makes me laugh, because I thought, oh, smart kid. Good. So make sure that when we access that it's not visible to the kid, if we deficit, make sure it's not visible to the kid. Know what so there are hot buttons in excesses and deficits. Like, for me, the kid that is so slow in the back of the line, I married that. I see it in kids and I'm like, oh, the old lady in the grocery store like this. Mm-hmm. People in front of me who like, go and then get in front of me and are like 5 miles an hour. I can get out and catch you with my hands, and so I know that is a hot button for me. So I have to make sure I'm aware of the hot button, and then I don't deficit a kid who thinks it's a norm, because you're going to get sandpaper. So let's make sure we're not getting sandpaper. Humor. Like, life is too short to be serious all the time. If you can't laugh at yourself, call me. Those are my actual real phone. That's my actual real phone number. I'll laugh at you. So so humor. For some reason, we should have a lot of it in this field. You know how many people I see without humor? Why? I had a woman one time that said to me, I said, anybody offended by my swearing? And 2 people raised their hand. One was kidding, and another woman was serious. And I was like, oh, nuts. So I had to watch my language, which is hard. Watch my language now because I'm going to be videotaped. My mom said I can't swear on anything anybody will see outside of like right here. So on my Facebook Lives, right? If you've watched them, I haven't sworn one time. I say crap one time. But I feel like that's a pretend swear. But I really wanted to say the other one. So this woman raised her hand and I was like, oh, okay. And then she had, like that straight face. And I'm like, oh, so I'm trying to like engage with her and make her laugh. And at the end, she's like, oh, that was good. And I'm thinking like, well, you don't really think that. And she's like, no, that was good. I enjoyed it and I thought I wasn't going to like you. Oh, why would you think that? That's so nice. And I was like, and really, then my humor came out, right? I kind of like accessed it. I was like, why wouldn't you like me? I'm like, really? I'm so fun. She goes, well, I don't really like funny people.
Oh, okay.
And I'm thinking, we're not gonna be friends. And then I told that story at Mass AUIC one year, and a woman came up after, and she's like, I worked at that school, and I'm thinking like, and I said, oh, how is she? How's she doing? They're like, oh, she didn't last long.
Okay.
No! You're kidding me! Such a surprise. Someone who works with 2-year-olds that doesn't find anything funny. Because 2-year-olds find everything funny and they poop in their pants. So if you don't find poop funny, you're in trouble. If you don't find poop funny when they're infants, when they're 2, when they're 3, when they're 4, when they're 5, you're going to have a hard time. So a lot of people are like, okay, we'll be funny, but what sort of benefits can you have from using humor, right? There are behavioral benefits, there are physiological benefits, there's attendance benefits, so there's decreased stress in humor. If you can get yourself into like, oh my gosh, I have to change diapers and it's so hard because I got a little bit of that, or you'd be like, all right, how many poops do you think I'm gonna get? You think I'm gonna get 4 poops? Right, and if you like make a game out of it, right? I'm gonna get 4 poops. 3 peas in a dry diaper. When you get a poop, you'd be like, Pop, got it, right? Like, it's such less stress because, right, we're going outside, so we're doing sunscreen, or we have to change diapers every 2 hours, and then you're like, oh, and the stress can be up here. But if you use humor, what can happen? You can move the stress down a little bit. So, increased collaboration because people want, I think, to hang out with me because I have humor. And they can come to me and tell me things, and I don't know how many times I've had people say like, I haven't told anybody this, I don't know why I just like said that to you. And I was like, I know why you said it to me, because I look, and I am, but I also look and feel safe. But I think it has to do with my humor. That people come and tell me things, someone who told me about her daughter trying to commit suicide numbers of times, and I'm like, oh, right, and then I have to go back to my norm of humor, like, that's not trying to be funny. Right, I have people who always say to me, oh, you know what, I like when you do workshops, maybe you should do, you know what they're really looking for? Child abuse and neglect. I think I'm not the girl for that. Not really the girl for child abuse and neglect, because then it would be really serious. And you can't make that funny, right? Or you should do the ones that you have to do the like emergency preparedness, there's a shooter in the building, and I was like, I do bloodborne pathogens because it's all about gooey, gross liquid, and I do it funny with poop diapers and Barbie dolls. I do that one, because I can make that one funny, but I know where my limit is with. Or could you do anything with, I think I was just asked to do classroom structure. Oh, do you see this as structured? Structured. So I'm doing all this new stuff in my businesses, and my mom's like, do you have like a price structure, and do you have a, nah, I'm just gonna wait for someone to ask, and I'll make some stuff up. Okay? And then I'll write it down just so I keep it the same for the next person to ask. I don't. Increased focus. So people are like, no, that's not true. You're going to use humor, what's going to happen? People are going to be unfocused. That's not the case. If I get to use humor and you use humor with me, I am more able to focus on you. If you are dry and boring and you talk like this, hi, my name is Meg, and today we're going to talk about I need your help. I'll be like, nope. I know, I always sit in the front row, and I know within 5 minutes I was like, I'm gonna have to fake diarrhea soon. I'm gonna have to, like I can't, I'm like, oh sorry, I got a call, I'll be right back. 2 hours later, I'm like, sorry, it was really extensive. I just can't. Anybody not good in boredom? I can't do it. It makes me crazy. Strong support networks. I feel like I said, a lot of people come to me, and I go to people who are not serious all the time. I'm like, if I am having a hard time, I'm looking for somebody with humor, or that is lighthearted and joyful to talk to, and not somebody who is like, well, that was the wrong thing to do. I realize, which is why I'm crying, So I need somebody to like, right, we're all human. And if we weren't human, what would we be, robots? Oh, monkeys? Like, I don't know, right? I need somebody to like have off the cuff, be sarcastic. And not everybody needs that, right? But for me, I do, for sure. Increased productivity, I can focus longer, I am always like, I give myself incentives to like do a report that takes me 2 hours. I can't just sit and do a report for 2 hours. Nope. I have to like, okay, 20 minutes and then I can, and I'm like, find, and I listen to comedy, like there's not a lot of radio stations that come in on the way here.
No.
From where, I'm like, oh, I like this song. Okay. I like this. So I listen to Pandora and I listen to comedy radio, or I listen to Dry Bar Comedy, which is on Facebook, and it is funny. It's in Utah. Dry Bar Comedy, right? In Utah you can't drink, and there's no swearing or really profane language, and I try to learn from like, oh, how can you be funny without talking about poop and saying bad words? It's way more fun to do the other way, but I'm trying to. But that's where I go to. I'm in the car and I listen to comedy and I think of like voice intonation. I think of that stuff because nobody wants this, right? Do you want it to be boring? Oh gosh, no, right? Nobody. Not one person has said, yeah, I kind of wish it was more boring. No, that's not true. Stimulates circulation. That's a physiological effect of humor. So I'm like, yeah, all right. So you feel good, your blood's running good. Relaxes muscles. I think we all, anybody feel when they're stressed right here?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, anybody give themselves headaches? I slept wrong on my, that's how you know you're old. If you sleep wrong, like I can't even put my head on a pillow and not pull my neck. Stop it. And it's been like 5 days. And I'm on Tylenol and I try to like rub it out. And my chiropractor's on vacation. Stupid chiropractor. You miss less work, kids miss less school. If there's humor. Especially, right? I had kids that they were sick and they were like, Mommy, I want to go to school because we were fun. And you know those kids that get up. And then sometimes the humor works the opposite, right? I worked with a kid once who I came in and I was like, my friend was the teacher and she was like, Meg's here! And I was like, I'm here! We're both like, woo! He looks at us and he goes, rolled his eyes and walked away and we were like, okay. And I was like, shh. She's like, why? I'm like, I have to work with him and it's not gonna work out because he's just rolled his eyes at us. Increases approachability, optimism, and positive communication. I feel like that's obvious. Makes for happy and healthy humans. It adds 8 years to your life. Using humor on a daily basis adds 8 years to your life. So if you were hoping for 92, you got 100, right? 8 years. That's great. That's great. And a good belly laugh is 10 minutes on the rowing machine. How many people want to go on the rowing machine?
Oh, God.
Never. Just belly laugh. Like 3 belly laughs, that's 30 minutes on the rowing machine. Then you can be like, check this out. Yeah. Woo! Because, yeah, right? And kids laugh around 200 times a day. How many times do adults laugh? Anybody know? 17.
Oh.
To a kid's 200, we laugh 17 times. Because of all the things that we have to do and whatever. But I'm thinking, if I can help adults and kids laugh more than the 200 or 17, that's great. So I think poop is funny. That's on your, I love that she printed out the poop emoji. Poop is funny. That's our put too, look. Poop is funny, yep. And when did they use, so if you ever have, starts at about 3, 4, 5, 6 still, and all the way through to adulthood, I feel like if you have 4-year-old boys and you do not find poop funny, you should find a different classroom. Because they are going to use poop as humor. And we don't put them in the bathroom. Because what happens when you put them in the bathroom? You're going to use that humor, you're going to go to the bathroom. So then they what? They go in the bathroom, right? Pretend this is in the bathroom, their body's in it. And what do? Oh, I'm going to swear. Because this really happened. So block your ears if you're listening. And they go like this, shit, 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 shit. And the teacher's looking at me and goes, like right her head exploded. It was like a cartoon and the like smoke came out her ears. And she's like, what do I do? And I was like, oh, what do you do when he says bathroom words? She goes, put him in the bathroom. I was like, darn it. Sorry, in the bathroom. And then what gives kids permission to go in the bathroom or what? Poop, poop, diarrhea, pee, poop, head, diarrhea, poop, poop, poop. Like, so that we want to be the quick fix. That's the same thing with spitting. People always put kids in the bathroom to spit. New thing is now give them a cup. They're not spitting because they're thinking like, ah, she's got a cup I kind of like. I want that bowl. I'm going to spit. Hope she gives me that bowl to spit in. It's not a thing. So we have to teach the rules of humor. Know that you're going to, right? It's a lack of skill for a lot of kids. They think it's funny. You don't. Because now you have all the 4-year-olds in your classroom yelling poop. Right? I had a friend that said, okay, so there's one kid on the mat. He doesn't want to be sleeping, so he's going poop, poop, poop. And then there's like, so then it's catchy, right? This kid saying poop. And then now you have all the kids during nap time. Poop, poop, poop. Like saying poop. And she's like, what do I do? And I was like, okay, so you're going to teach the rules of humor. The rules of humor are, when is poop funny? When is a certain thing funny? So at my house, and know that I am the biggest offender of when is poop is funny and when to break the rule. This girl, not my 6-year-old, me. So, poop is not funny at the table. Poop is not funny in public, because I can't be in, right, I can't see Crystal, you in Barnes & Noble, and my son's calling me a poopy head and a pee-pee face. Like, because I'm like, but that's my job. Like, you can't be a hard kid and call me a poop head in public, and other people see it. You can't do it in a restaurant. And, yep, those are the 3. And at the table, a lot of times, my son will try to trick me. He goes like, Mommy, look under there. And I'm like, underwear. And then I said underwear. He goes, not at the table. And I was like, oh, you tricked me. So, we'll talk about at the table, and my son and I are guilty of breaking the rules. My husband never. And when I break them, he looks at me like, what? And I was like, because in my head I think it's really funny. It's the only time we're going to be together. And then we like separate and do bed and brush teeth and do work. And I'm like, so I really just have to say it. And and it has diarrhea in it, and we're going to talk about that right now. And my son's laughing, and my husband's over there like this. Giving me the stink eye. How? I didn't even mean that for that to be funny. So we have to get over the poop. Don't stick them in the bathroom. Teach the rules of humor. Once you start teaching the rules of humor, because it's a lack of skill for kids, what are your 2 best friends? Time and patience. You have to give them time to learn it, and then you have to be patient while they learn it. So your 2 best friends are always time and patience. What else is a rule of humor? How many times is funny funny? I'd say, if I'm going to tell you what kind of bees make milk. Boobies. Hysterical. What if I told you it 5 more times? The 5th time you're like, shut up. It's not hysterical the first time, right? Not funny the 5th time. Yet kids, once they see you laugh and they gotcha, they're like, that's the only joke I know.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many times, probably 15 times a day. Mommy, look under there. Pun. It's not funny anymore. And he's like, he can now do this. 3 years of teaching. Mommy, what else do you find funny? Because he wants to, like, so if they're saying poop, yeah, poop, like, what else, what other words do you find funny? Like reading books with jokes in it. Runny Babbit by Shel Silverstein, not Bunny Rabbit. He switches the first letter of the 2 words, so it's Runny Babbit instead of Bunny Rabbit. And to read it is hysterical because you mess up your words. But talking about funny things that don't have to do with poop, right? Like thinking of a funny situation that you were in and telling a story and be like, oh, what else do you find funny? I have one, you want it? You want to hear it? And then you can like get down on the mat, for the kids saying poop and be like, I know you need humor now, right now, but one of our rules at school is we don't use those words ever, which will get you in trouble because that's hard for a kid to never use that word. But it's also like not at nap time, not at the table, probably not when parents are there, right? Like, what are the rules around it? They have no idea. They know that it's poop. You're either laughing or mad. They like both of those. And so they're going to keep using it. Have you ever, when you've been, I know because I'm fueled by humor, that when I'm funny and people laugh, I just keep going. And then my husband will look at me and be like, I was like, but they're still laughing. And who do I see? I see you laughing. I do not see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 of you going like this. Shut up. I just see this one laughing. So I don't know, right? Kids that get up to do, I had a little boy in a school and he got up to do, he was the pledge leader. He was supposed to get up and do the Pledge of Allegiance. But he has this temperament. So you get up to do the Pledge of Allegiance and am I serious in doing what I'm supposed to do? No, because I'm 5. I barely would do it now. And so what did he do? Okay, everybody stand up. He's going to be the leader. And he's like this. What does he do? Wags his tail, right? Like, and kids are laughing. He doesn't know that the teachers are like pissed off. And he got fired from the pledge leader job. And I was like, but you fired her, now what happens? It's a lack of skill. It's, wow, I am in front of this whole class and all of these kids are looking at me and I know adults that can't do it. And at 5, what happens? You're gonna have to guide them through it. You probably should have known when he picked pledge leader, you picked that was his job, there's gonna have to be some instruction and he's probably gonna mess it up. Because that's a lot of fun I could have with these people looking at me. And I know certain of you will laugh. And they were like, well, so we got fired. And then they said, when you can do it, well, you could be the pledge leader again. Well, when else you get to practice being the pledge leader unless you're the pledge leader? And so the mom's like, so what do we do? And I was like, well, not fire him from it. It's like, I have a hard time with the blocks and I throw them, so you can't ever play in blocks until you know how to play in blocks. How am I going to learn to play in blocks if I can't go? And nobody's scaffolding and helping me. And nobody's taking time with me and having patience with me while I learn the skill. Right? And when it's a social-emotional skill as humor and using poop and being inappropriate, we want it right now. Chop, chop, let's go. Reading, how long does it take a kid to read? In this country, 6 to 7 years. In other countries, 8 to 9 years. In the most literate countries, it's actually 8 to 9 years because they start later. So what do? Do we ever say like, oh, you don't look like you're going to be a reader. Sorry. And you give up? No, there's Title I and you go to tutoring, right? There's whole tutoring places for it, right? All that stuff. But with social emotional growth or with humor, it's like, we gotta get this stuff done. Well, then they're gonna be an adult with inappropriate humor. Do you know adults with inappropriate humor? No. I think one is happening. Someone's gonna get mad at me for that, so I tried to block my face. So, how do I use sarcasm? Sarcasm to a lot of adults are funny. Who is it not funny to? Kids have no idea. What do they see sarcasm as? Mean, right? I said the other day to my son, I was trying to use sarcasm, I was like, dude, we have too much crap up here. We gotta, he looks at me and goes, Mommy, you think my stuff is crap? And I was like, no, I need to say bad words when I'm mad, and I was trying to be sarcastic, and I couldn't, and then he was like, and then he kept saying the word over and over again, and I was like, I started that, I was like, look at me, buddy, well, okay, Mommy's gonna try really hard not to say that again, I don't want you to say it again. He's like, what, the crap word? Yes, that one. So he's at a friend's house today, I hope he doesn't use it often. So who finds what funny? There are schools, so when I go into, I'm actually popular, which is weird, in Catholic schools, right? You think that wouldn't be the case? And I know when I get there, like, who's gonna find poop funny? Not these people. So I have to like, right? I have to always go down a level until I talk to them, and then sometimes I'm like, oh, okay. But I walked into one Catholic school once and I was like, okay, I was dressed pretty, I did not have flip-flops on. I was like, all right, more serious Meg. And then it's like, there was a picture of God over here, a picture of God over here, but like God, like from the floor to the ceiling, like he was like 6 feet big. And I thought, got it, okay, thank you. Loud and clear, buddy, loud and clear. And then I had to do, I do an activity in this quadrant, there is something that you have to talk about sex. And I was like, darn, I forgot this was in my communication workshop. I revamped it now that it's not in there anymore, but I was like, oh, nuts! Darn. And so I was like, so we're gonna talk about sex. Anybody have kids? And they all raised their, people raised their hand. I was like, oh, so you already know about it. Right, because you had to have it to have a kid. And they were all like, so although like, because I pick my strategies out of joy, I'm not ever in fear, and they're always joyful. And they help kids get to the emotional wellness piece and help with self-esteem and positive internal working model. I think people in Catholic schools like that stuff, but I don't know, the rumor did not spread that she's the funny girl who says bad words. I don't think that happened. That part didn't get to them, like they didn't get that memo. So I get in and I'm like, hi. Oh gosh. So poop is funny. Look at the next one. This was on a
I love it.
bulletin board for months before anybody saw it.
What?
I walked in one time and I was like, oh! And they were like, what? I was like, your sheeps. And they were like, what? And I was like, really? Look at the eyes on this one. And this one is like, has the eyelashes like, I want to smell your breath. And this one's like, oh, that's so embarrassing. Like, if they could talk the funny things that, what? I'm like, stop. And they were like, oh, we didn't even notice that. Me? I would have done that on purpose. Like, I would have been like, right? I would have been like, which ones go good together? And there was more down here that were doing similar things. But I was like, can I take a picture of that? They're like, sure, why? And I was like, I just think it's funny. Sharing that later in the workshop. So right, in that school had a harder time with humor, so I was like, well, of course you didn't see it. They had a lot of challenging kids, and they felt like they didn't have enough time. They didn't have time for humor, and they didn't know what to do. And so I was like, oh, that's funny. And then all the adults were standing there looking at it, laughing, and the kids going, what are you laughing at? And then they looked like, oh, that one's sniffing the other's butt. Remember we talked about, the kids had seen it already. And they thought it was hysterical, and they had already talked about it and had conversation, and I think they thought, what's taking you guys so long? This has been up here for 3 months. And I had gone there, right, it was one of those places that they kept their stuff up too long. So they kept it up, and then it was like, I saw it the first time, because I'm looking for that stuff. And it was up there time after time after time after time, and I was like, at least maybe put a heart around it. I wanted to like cut out a heart and put it like, they're probably in love. Right, well dogs do that to each other, right? They're like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. And I was like, good thing humans don't. Hi, Kristen, nice to see ya. Right, like, all right. So this is like I don't even know what it's called, but that's supposed to be me.
It's a Bitmoji.
A bit, thank you.
You're welcome.
Because I'm like, it's a something. And so I got to make myself. I'm cute in that picture. I wish that's what I look like. And like. So, ignoring behavior, please stop. Please stop ignoring the behavior. So, in my field, we get a lot of these traditional things. We're going to talk about sticker charts too, that's going to happen. But ignoring the behavior, why? So if I am trying to be funny and I am using poop and I am ignoring you, kids are not thinking, oh, she probably doesn't like that. And she probably finds it hard that I keep doing it. So I think I'm gonna stop. I don't think any kid has ever had that ever. They think, nope, she didn't hear me, and I'm gonna keep doing it. In early childhood, we get a lot of that with spitting. We get a lot of kids who, so we get cups to spit in. Just give them a cup. What? So if they pee their pants, you're gonna give them a, what are those, bedpans? Like what? I don't know. Because that's the same, right? That's on the continuum, I feel like. Your poop, you're gonna give them like a jug. Like what? Stop. What is happening? So kids do it. Some kids do it to get attention. So we teach kids what? How to get attention positively. And then we have to be humble and be like, they, I think, were probably trying to get our attention and we missed it. So what do I have to do? Be like, you know what, bud? I think you were trying to get my attention. I was busy over here and I missed it. This is how I'll hear you best. If you say, hey Meg, come on over, or come and hold my hand, or give me a nonverbal cue of like, or a thumbs up or something, so I know you need me, because I didn't know. And right, so we take the responsibility for like, you were trying to get my attention, I missed it. I'm gonna try, and sometimes you have directors come in and check it out. So like you would come in and say, okay, it would be me saying like, I missed something. He's trying to get my attention, but it's inappropriate. He's trying to do it inappropriately and I don't know how, and I keep missing the part at the beginning, so I only get the end part where I get stressed and I'm not funny anymore and I'm grumpy. So having another set of eyes in a home setting, you can have another set of eyes as well. And that is okay for figuring out attention. Then, right, your two best friends, time and patience. Sometimes it's because I get mad in my mouth. So kids get mad in 3 areas, their hands, their feet, and their mouth. I get mad in my mouth. So I first get mad in my hands. So I want to hit and punch. And as a behavior consultant, you can't do that. And I want to like and it's not, almost never kids, it's usually the adults. I'm going to like scratch and shake them. And then, if I can't do that, I want to do what? Say the F word. Anybody say the F word and you're like, oh, I feel good. Right? Do you feel better? I feel, oh, so good. So good. Like the other day when I said crap in front of my son, and he was like, Mommy. And I'm like, oh man, like I didn't say the S one. It would have made me feel better too. So, I can't say do either of those things. But when kids are little and they're mad, they raspberry, right? If you show it in your mouth, you can bite. And sometimes you bite until you're too old, like you're out of the developmental 2-year-old stage of biting. Now I'm 5 and I'm mad and everybody's like, diagnose him, evaluate him. I'm like, or we could figure out how else to replace the behavior in the mouth. He gets mad in his mouth, so it feels good when you get mad to bite you. I get it. Because I don't want to bite, but I clench my teeth. Anybody clench their teeth? And then you're like, oh, sometimes I'm like this. Wow, that was... Because it's, oh. Well, we know you can't bite other adults, because we're adults and we've had education and experience, some of us. Some of us are still doing that. Well, that's a different story for a different day. But when you're 3 and I'm mad and you took my toy, right? Everything is an emergency when you're 3 and 4 and 5. So I know how to get that back. Because if I bite your hand, you're going to drop the toy and I win. Winner. So what do? We have to teach them what else to do when they're mad. You can't take away without replacing it with something. Ignoring it. Can you see if you ignored me? What would happen? What would happen? Would I ever be down? Would I come down here? No! I would get louder. And I've done it in, I was a business major before I realized I was not good at math. And you have to do a lot of math for business. So I got to my sophomore year in business. And I was in a class. And for some reason, a lot of the football players were also business majors. So there was this big, huge, you had to have been a linebacker on the football team. And the teacher was saying, asking questions, and I was like answering them out loud, but I didn't know the answer was right, so I didn't do it loud enough so the teacher heard me, but loud enough so the people next to me heard me. And he looks at me and goes, "Just say it loud enough or shut up." And I was like, but because I felt like the teacher was ignoring me, I just kept going with it. And then he wasn't ignoring me. And then every time I see him, I'm like, "You wanted to friend me on Facebook one time," and I was like, "No, like I'm scared of you." And then the rest of the time I was like, "Oh my gosh, I was so mortified because he said it so everybody like turned and looked at me, and I was like, "Hi." I thought I had the right answer, but I wasn't quite sure. So we're not ignoring behavior. Ignoring behavior is very Skinnerian. B.F. Skinner came up with that. If he was alive, he is not, but if he was, I would tap him with my car a little bit. He's also the one that does human conditioning, which is the sticker charts that we're going to talk about. So just please stop. It doesn't work. And that is the typical, and I'm thinking like, if you reach out for help because somebody, right? You've reached out. And what if I came in and said, just ignore the behavior? Well, darn it, I could have thought of that all by myself. Right? You didn't need me to come in, to pay me to come in to tell you to ignore the behavior. And even the most senseless behavior makes sense to a person doing it. So what are the common messages our behavior communicates? So I want to be noticed. I am the poster child for that. In college, I used to wear bonkers clothes. Like I had a bug skirt that was like significantly too short. A dress that was like fluorescent colored and it was too short, but I ironed it to try to make it a little longer. I had a silver like reflective metallic jacket and a quilted skirt that was silver. Or you could reverse it, it would be denim. And then I had high boots that like laced all the way up. And it was January, and I'm like, oh, it's so cold. I stopped in every dorm on the way to my class because it was so cold. And people were like, why are you wearing that? Because I look good. And I don't want to be ignored. Like, I am doing this on purpose. My mom has purple and turquoise hair. And she's like, everybody looks at me like, I forget that she has purple and turquoise hair because she's my mom. She's always been flamboyant like that. But we'll walk in the mall and people are like, because it's all purple and turquoise. And it's spiked up and she would like me to tell you that she's 42. But my brother is 43 and I am 40, so that's not true. She just had her birthday yesterday. And she told everybody she was 42. And people are like, she's obviously more than 42, so they're like, okay. So like, I know that she does it to get noticed. I know that she does, and then she likes to pretend that she doesn't see everybody noticing her. But the apple didn't fall from the tree. I'm the same way. Like sometimes I'm a little bit too loud because then I can get the attention of people who are like a little bit further that wouldn't hear me if I used my regular indoor voice. I was not born with an indoor voice anyway. But I know that, and I struggled with that as a kid, trying to get noticed and wear like different shoes or I had really crazy clothes. I don't so much now. I'm a t-shirt and jeans kind of girl. I grew into that. But I used to like wear like full face makeup and bonkers can you see me in bonkers eyeshadow? I put on mascara for you today. And I'm putting it on like, oh, that means I have to take a shower tonight. So, is it that I want to be noticed? If it is because you want to be noticed and you're ignoring it, it only makes me want to be noticed more. And I will only be, escalate my behavior. I want an emotional response from you, and I'm going to do it till you get mad, and when you get mad, what is it? It's a score for me, because I got you to the point where I got an emotional response from you. It doesn't have to always be positive. So I do it until what happens? Until you get mad and you're like, winner, over here. I don't want to talk to you, right? Sometimes behavior is you are too close and too loud, and I don't want you to come help me right now. I need a minute. I want social interaction. I'm also a poster child for that. I don't want you near me. You know how many times I see accident reports of the adult and the child? And I'm like, what happened to the other kid? They were like, no, they hit me. Well, they were mad, and I went up, and they like do this, right? Engulf them. And so that kid feels like, what, a caged bear, and it's like, pew, pew. And I was like, oh, if they're mad, you want to stay 3 to 5 feet away, have somebody else take the other kids and read a story on the other side of the room. Like, the things we are told, like they're mad, so go real close to them and get down on their level and talk to them. And then you are a perfect height to punch you in the face. If I'm standing and you squat down, I'm just going to go poof. I need to know specifically what is expected of me right now. Some kids have no idea. Some kids we give like 5-step directions. You're going to go and you're going to go to the bathroom, wash your hands, get on your shoes, get on your coat and line up. They've either gone in to go to the bathroom and they have no idea what to do afterwards, or they have gone what? Line up. They're like, I heard these little kids, line up, or go to the bathroom to get better to make them. And so they're like walking around the classroom, freaking out, because they don't know. That was too many directions. I've seen somebody give like 23 directions to the kids, like all the centers and what was happening in all the centers. And then they were like, go ahead. Kid put his head down like this. And I put my head down too, and I talked to him like from under my arm, and I was like, what's going on, buddy? He goes, I don't know what to do. And I was like, oh. Well, she explained it. He goes all at once. Yeah. So he just went to like, he was like, and we're gonna shut down, right? He just, yeah. I feel mad, right? We have a lot of kids that do things and you're like, it came out of nowhere. I just talked about this last night. If you feel like it came out of nowhere, know that there was, so I call it indoor thoughts, outdoor emotions, or inside thoughts, outside emotions. So if you are mad, either you get mad fast, but there was still, for me, if I'm the one getting mad, there was still like a physiological response in my body. Anybody know what their body feels like when they get mad? Like my armpits like sting and my hands get cold but they're sweaty, and right here gets like, and I'll do Ujjayi breath like in yoga. I'll go. It's the only way I found out not to cry, and when I'm mad I want to cry. Not when I'm sad I want to cry too, but when I'm mad I want to cry because it wants to come out, and the way that it wants to come out of me is how? And say bad words, and I can't do that, so it goes to my eyes. So what we see is the outside emotion of the kid. We missed the inside stuff because it wasn't out loud, right? I would make $1 billion if I could be inside a child's head. And when they get really mad and they're throwing stuff, we tend to punish them, we tend to take things away, we tend to implement consequences, when the best thing to do is say, whoa, I saw the outside emotion, I saw it, I missed the inside thoughts. You forgot to share them with us. I'm wondering what you were thinking, because to me it looked like, oh, that came out of nowhere. I know for you that's not the case, but I missed the part that was inside your body that you thought about, and I can't feel what you feel, so as you were getting mad and your body felt mad, I didn't know that was happening. So can you please, so let's work on together what an inside thought will look like. It can be nonverbal, it could be, right, I'm getting mad, great, because I'd rather you scream and just go, mad. I had one kid in kindergarten that would hit, and I said, just, when you're getting mad, just yell my name, because yelling is better than hitting. It's not to take a deep breath and walk away. I still have a hard time doing that. And that she might never get there, but we're gonna work on getting there. So, going, and walking away is not possible for some kids. So just scream. And then when you got screaming down, what are we gonna do? We're gonna do something different. And then we got that down, we're gonna do something different, right? So we're gonna do it in increments. You can't just throw chairs and then throw chairs. And then it sounds so silly when you're the person who wants to throw. If you're not the person who wants to throw, it doesn't make as much sense. But for me, as that person. So I want to throw stuff and hit people, but now take your flour and you're gonna take another breath. And I'm thinking like, I'm gonna hit you now too. I'm gonna hit him and you. Because I can't. I'm not good at meditation, at yoga. I'm good at the strength part of yoga. I'm not good at the clear my brain. Blah, blah, blah. I'm just so fast paced. I have squirrels that are like in my brain, and I can't. And I drink a lot, and I can't get them to slow down. And when I'm mad, they're never slow. Never. So we have to be cognizant of kids who it comes out of nowhere. If you ever hear that, to each other now, you could say, oh, we must have missed the inside thought. So go talk to him. What were your inside thoughts? No, you're not getting inside thoughts till they calm down and process. I mean, calm down, then you can process. Because you can't be emotional and logical at the same time. So if they're up here and they're pissed and they're throwing stuff and hitting and kicking, okay, hold on a minute. And make sure they're all the way down. I feel like the minute they stop with the outward, it's still inside, so they're here. And then we think they're down here, or where are they? Right? Here? And you try and they freak out again, and you're like, whoop, that was too soon. And we have to take some responsibility that we're like, oh, it was too soon, I tried to push it because I'm trying to get kids to lunch. Right? It's that time and patience piece again. I cannot manage all these demands. That's tricky. We talked about that one a little bit. This is too difficult, right? We want things that are challenging for kids, but not so hard that it's like impossible for them to get to. And I feel like we do a lot of that with the pushdown curriculum. Like we're teaching 3-year-olds to write. Whew, they are pooping in a diaper. Chill out. And with my son, I was like, okay, I want him to read. Of course I do. Do you think he's going to get to college and not know how to read? No. You need to have a significant, probably speech delay, a significant learning disability, be raised somewhere where like there's no schooling. None of that is happening with my son. So he will get to college learning how to read. Could he get to college and not be a good friend and not have empathy? Yeah, because you see adults. Do the adults you know like that, can they read? Yeah! Can they do math? Yeah! Are they not good friends? Yeah! So I put a lot of my effort into making Brennan a cool kid. And I think he's cool. Of course, I'm a little bit biased. He does look like his mother. She was adorable. But for him, I'm like, okay, so we were going to go to a school. And it was a Montessori school. And they asked, I didn't know they were doing this, but he went in to visit. And they asked him, like, what's this say? And it was like cat. And they had to say, you know, they said, we don't want him to be a reader, but we want him to know at, cat. And so we find out that he didn't get accepted because he didn't know his letters. And I was like, oh, you don't want to take him just because he's a cool kid? So I got all this stuff because I'm like, in the summer I'm going to try to teach him how to read. Blah, blah, blah. And so I'm starting to do this stuff totally outside of what I would do. But right, you're so emotionally close, I didn't realize what I was doing. And he goes, oh, Mommy, you know the school I went to on a visit? And I said, yeah, buddy. He goes, they tried to do that with me. I said, oh, how did it go? He goes, I didn't get any of them right. No, of course you don't. Because you can't match up the uppercase and lowercase letters and you don't know all the sounds yet. But if you need a kid to help and be a friend and be empathetic and be an entrepreneur and compromise, it's Brennan. He's got that piece at 6. He's so cool. And I'm like, I'm not gonna. So then we started, I bought all the Montessori materials, and I was like, what am I doing? So now he's going to this outdoor school, and it's amazing. And I get to volunteer and find things at yard sales and donate to the school, which you can't do in a Montessori school because their stuff is very specific. And you can't go and volunteer because you mess up the system. I don't know. And I was like, and I'm too funny for Montessori. I'm too edgy. So I went in and I was like, hi! And hi, how are you? And I was like, oh, I am good. I gotta go now. Because you're too serious. But Brennan likes to learn that way. But now in the new school, it's project approach, so it's collaborative, and the older kids learn from the younger kids. So it'll be 1st to 6th grade, all together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, and it's outside all the time. Like, we had a list of like school supplies, like Ticonderoga pencils, and all this, like, and it only like this big. I think they do it just so you can like have the experience to go and buy stuff in the store. But what they really want is like 3 sets of mittens. These are the best kind that are the most waterproof. That's the stuff we got. Boots, and these are the kinds that are the most waterproof. If your kid doesn't like to put on wet clothes, you're going to have to bring in double. These are the best bags that hold stuff so it's easy for kids to get into. And I was like, wow, you did a lot of research on outdoor clothes. Because me, what outdoor clothes do I buy? Pretty ones. Right? Like, well, this coat is cold, but I look good. I have a purple North Face, so now it's warm and pretty. Some of the senseless behaviors, I feel unsafe. Know that it's not just physically. You're like, well, you're not unsafe here. Emotionally, I've seen it. I've seen teachers, I get there before the kid gets there that I'm supposed to see. Like if I got there at 8:45 and the kid doesn't come till 9, and the teacher's like, the music's on and she's dancing with the kids, and she's like, woo! Because she's thinking, that kid's not coming, right? The kid walks in and you could see, ooh. And I've heard teachers say this, oh, we thought you weren't coming today. Nope. I'd be a pain in the neck for you too. If that's how I entered work and that's how you said like, oh, I thought you were going to be on vacation, you came today? Right? How many people would be awful? Like I will live up to what you just made for me as a goal. Or I need a break. You know what, there are some kids that want to be by themselves. Tell me one time a kid is by themselves during the day. Do you hear that? It sounds like a bullfrog. That was so weird. So kids who want to be by themselves during the day. So my husband is one of those people. I want all of you to be my friends. Everybody I've met. I love to come to places, like I woke up this morning and I was so excited to come here because I'm like, I know more than one person there. And it's so fun, and I know that, right, they appreciate my humor and the information I have. So I was excited about it. I want everybody to be my friend. My husband has one friend. He married her, which is so cute. But he doesn't really need other people to like fuel him in terms of interaction. When we go to the bar, I'm the Coyote Ugly girl, like, woo! And my husband's in the corner, like, drinking a beer, like, oh, geez, I married that. And when I come over, he's like, you're blowing my cover, people don't know I'm with you. So usually when I go out and want to have fun, he stays at home. Because it's not as fun when you're in the corner quiet. I want you to be like, woo! So there are kids that want to be alone, except they go to circle and they go outside, right? And circle with others. They're outside with others. They're having snack with others. They're eating lunch with others. They're napping, probably way too close to others. Even when they're pooping in the potty. Are you done yet? What are you doing in there? And you see the fingers, right? Any moms? Like, Mommy, you pooping in there? Well, yes, the fan's on, I have the door closed. But these kids, I think, are like, oh, I need a break from all of these people talking to me. Because I don't know what to do with them all. Right? They just want these tasks. They want to like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I need like a quiet space, except the quiet space is still what? Where anybody can come in. So that's a one-person space, but it's still in the midst of all the craziness. When they want to be by themselves, they want to like take a nap in their room, in their bed, with the door closed, nobody else coming in. They want to eat lunch by themselves, at a table, alone with nobody else. So sometimes kids need a break, and we don't give kids a lot of break, especially again with that push-down curriculum. We're like trying to drill all this stuff into their heads all the time, and they're like, can we just just want to sit in the corner, pick my nose, and eat it for a minute. I will change diapers, the boogers across. So gross. What else? Oh, my favorite sticker charts. We all know how I feel about those, right? So, sticker charts are hard for me because, again, if someone had called me in, right, so say you were having a hard time and you're like, you know what, I need help, and they're not going to pay for you, so I'm going to pay for you out of my own pocket. So say you are going to do that, right, because you really need help. And I come in, and I watch, and I say, you know what, we should do a sticker chart. Would you be pissed? Because I think you're all smart enough, I've been here a couple times, you're all smart enough to figure out a sticker chart. I know how to get to the dollar store. I have $2, that's about it, right? That's my whole life savings, $2 to buy the stickers. And I have paper that are free at work. And I can make lines and columns and rows and figure out the sticker chart. I can figure it out. I'm thinking like, so there's this little boy last night in a meeting I had, a behavior club meeting. The mom was telling me, through tears, she was telling me how this little boy has such bad self-esteem, and he has a problem with anger. He goes from 0 to 60, and it doesn't look like it comes out of nowhere because she didn't know about the inside thoughts, right? I said, you're just seeing the outside emotion. We forgot about the inside thoughts. He has to start saying that. He has to start feeling his body. So those are the strategies we're going to start to teach him. And she said, so we go to a therapist, and it's only like 45 minutes, and it's at the therapist's office. So when I work with kids in a home, I go to the home. I go to the school. You don't have to take any kid and bring them to me because they're going to be amazing. Because that kid knows I got to keep it together, keep my act together for 45 minutes. I can do that. And she's like, he's never done anything wrong. They keep trying to discharge us. I'm like, and I said, so what are some of the strategies? She said, a sticker chart. And I was like, so it's a therapist, which means she probably went to way more school than I did, right? Probably a billion years. She's probably 1,000 years old. She went to 990 years of school. And that's all you got? A sticker chart? And so he has to do these things to earn the stickers so he can get, right? I think it's probably if you don't get mad and hit or throw things or whatever, you get a sticker. And at the end, if you add up the stickers, you get things that he wasn't said he wanted. And they weren't material things, they were more like experiences. I said, so how's it going? She goes, he has 0 stickers. So a kid who already has bad self-esteem, we've now put him on a system where what happens? Whew! He's emotionally unsafe, right? There's no emotional wellness there. And he's like, why am I even trying? I can't get a sticker. So now the adjectives he uses to describe himself is dark, right? He's all these negative adjectives because he's like, I can live up to those. And the mom's like, in the beginning of the year, we have to write 3 adjectives for your kid. So she said, I wrote brilliant. He goes, write adventurous. And she was like, okay, because he usually went to negative. And write dark. And she goes, I'm going to write funny. Because he has to now live up to brilliant, adventurous, and funny. And where's his internal working model, your self-esteem, where is that? Nowhere near those 3 things. And the sticker chart certainly isn't helping, it's making it worse. And I said, so here's my card. Please, if you can give it to the therapist to say, like, you've been working with a behavior person outside of this, and these are some of the things she suggested, and you can email her. And I was like, yeah, because I don't know if it comes from the parent, it doesn't mean as much as if it comes from another professional. And I'm like, hopefully she doesn't ask for my credentials because I don't have any of the ding-dongy things she has. Where do you go? Is there a sticker chart school? Where's that?
That's what you got from the Lebanon School District. The sticker charts.
Sticker charts.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, I'd be so mad as somebody who came in and I'm right, because usually if you get someone to come in, you have to, beg and plead and be like, woo! Like wave flags and cry and take time off from work for mental health. And you have to cry some more, and you have to whine, and then somebody comes in. So you think like, I did it. I whined enough, cried enough, had a hard enough time, so now someone's coming in. sticker chart. I would be
Furious.
so furious. Why? And I've been in a meeting where I was on the parent side, and there was a school psychologist on the school side. And I'm sitting there and I have all the like strategies we're using, your two best friends, time and patience, how long we think it's gonna happen, what sort of like incrementally how we're gonna get to the take a deep breath and walk away or whatever it was at the end. And so that's what I'm talking about, right? I'm saying all this stuff. I have the profile assessment so I know who he is, and I say we've picked out of the appropriate toolboxes because we know that the other toolboxes don't work for him. We've tried them out by human behavior and the pattern, it wouldn't fit. So I said, like, he is a direct dominant kid. He shows his anger externally, so a sticker chart wouldn't work. The school psychologist on the other side says, oh, that's what we're doing, a sticker chart. The teacher, listen. The teacher who had been there 25 years stands up, and I'm like, this is gonna be fun, I wish I had a video camera. She slams her hand down on the table and goes, do you think after 25 years I have not tried a sticker chart? I know how to make a sticker chart. She's going on and on. I was like, she goes, I want her to help me. How do I get her to help me? And I'm sitting there like, oh jeez. They're fighting over me right now, which makes me feel kind of good, right? But she's so mad, this teacher, and the school psychologist is trying to like backpedal, get her feet out of her mouth, trying to, oh my gosh. I can't, right, I mean, first of all, at 3, they may work for stickers for a short point in their life, like a short time, right? We see it a lot with potty, bathroom. Maybe for a short amount of time. You're gonna pick stickers. What happens when they're 15? There's not a 15-year-old working for stickers. But you've now programmed it to be externally motivated, so they want something to do things. Like, I'm not gonna clean up or do well in school or get good grades or work if I don't what?
Get a reward.
Get a reward of some sort. You can see it, you see little kids now, like, okay, we have to clean up, and then, what do I get? A clean classroom. Hop to it. You get nothing. And I think at some point the 3 or 4 or 5-year-olds are going with their parents to the dollar store, and they're going to go down the school supply aisle, and they're going to be like, oh, I've been working for those Spider-Man stickers in school. They're here. Right? They found your famous, right? Your like secret layer of stickers, and they're like, Mommy, can I have the Spider-Man stickers? And all parents would say yes because they're $1. And you get 367 of them. They're like, yes. And then what happens? They come to school, you're on the sticker chart, and you say what?
I already have those stickers.
I don't care anymore.
Right, they're like, I don't want your sticker. I got all those at home, played with them, they're old news now. Right? We're like, whoa. And then it also gives us, we already have a lot of power, right, from what we talked about at the beginning, but it gives us, like, now you don't get to have any power of whether you've tried to do something and it just wasn't successful, right? Like, say you're on a sticker chart because when you're mad, you're inappropriate. You throw chairs or you swear or you hit somebody. So now, who decides if you get a sticker when you're mad? The adult does, right? Not the kid. It works best if the kid does if you're gonna do a sticker chart. So I'm mad, and I say a bad word. Say the F word. And so what happens? Stickers are what? Done, right? I'm thinking, nobody asked me because I wanted to pick up the chair and throw it. And I didn't, I said the F word. And I know someone told me, Meg who came in told me that yelling is better than throwing chairs, so I was trying to get there. But nobody asked the kid that. So if you asked him that, does he get a sticker? Hell yeah! Because you thought that through enough to say the F word and not throw a chair. But nobody ever asked the kid. And then people say, oh, well, he'll lie. He knows he's lying. There's still learning to be done, and it still works. But sticker charts last 4 to 6 weeks. Why? Because kids lose interest in them. I've never seen them last 4 to 6 weeks. Someone told me once, well, you have to do them right. Again, where's Sticker Chart College? What do you mean do them right? And I'm trying to I have 15 other kids and this one who feels like 5 kids. And I can't remember to give them a sticker. I've seen it. On the wall, all the kids. It looks like this. You know where it is, Lucas. I'll tell you after if you don't remember. Oh, that's supposed to be a wing. I don't know. Obviously it's a bee. Dur. Wait, maybe because I didn't give it a mouth. Stripes? Wait, does this help? Oh gosh.
Oh.
Remember? That's like part dolphin.
Turtle.
Turtle. Looks like a turtle.
Or dolphin.
But it looked like this because it had a big belly. And you got stickers for good behavior. Which has Pinterest written all over it, yes?
Yeah.
Yep. Someone saw that and thought, oh, that's cute! If it is cute and adorable, please don't use it. It's probably make you throw up. So, there are kids that had stickers on it, right? All over. They got to put them wherever they wanted. So my thought was the kids who have a lot of stickers are either the kids that would do well in a sticker chart because they're people pleasers and they never do anything wrong in the classroom anyway, or they're the kids who are there trying to shower with stickers to change the behavior. So I'm not sure which one they are. But I was in there for 2 hours, and I observed for 2 hours. And nobody got a sticker. And I was like, oh, maybe this doesn't work. Maybe I didn't go to Sticker Chart College, so I don't know. So maybe this doesn't work the way I thought it did. So I said, so how do you get stickers? They said, oh, for good behavior. And I said, I've been in here for 2 hours and not one person has done anything. They've all had good behavior, but not any stickers were given out. Oh yeah, they have to go above and beyond. But do they know that? And what's above and beyond? Like, I think if they haven't peed on the floor and they ate some of their snack and they didn't say the F-bomb and they didn't lick or bite or fart on their friends, they
It's a good day.
It's a good day. And if they fart on their friends, it's still a good day because it's funny.
It's just fun.
But they couldn't. So I'm like, no. They're like, well, sometimes we can't always do that, right? So it was like really popular at first, and then kids forgot about it. Adults are like, what are you earning stickers for? You can't remember anymore because, And then sticker chart has nothing to do with the teaching piece of I am trying to what? Get my inside thoughts to match my outside emotions. That's the teaching piece. Does that do any of that? Do stickers do any of my inside thoughts or my outside emotions? Right? It's called modulating emotions. When I get mad, on a scale of 1 to 10, how big is this? Right? And for little kids, it's a 1 to 5. A 5 is, there is a fire in the building, you better get your bottom outside. 4 is, I fell off the monkey bars and I think I broke my arm and I have to go to the hospital. A 3 is, somebody hurt me. A 2 would be, someone took my toy. A 1 is like insignificant. But kids at 3 do what? It's always a 5, right? Always a 5. So they can't modulate 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. They can't, until you teach them that piece. This doesn't teach them that piece. It's like a catch 'em being good, and you're like, you get a sticker, and the kid's like, hey, for what? And then if you get enough stickers, sometimes you get to have lunch with the principal. No one wants to have lunch with the principal. Nobody. What kid wants to have lunch with the principal? The one that's never in trouble. You think the kid that has hard behavior and bad behavior wants to have lunch with the principal? No, they're thinking, get me away from the adults in this building. I can't wait to go to the lunchroom and have lunch with my friends. Or you get iPad time, and then you try to take the iPad away, and what happens? Their head explodes, and the iPad, that's why they're always in those cases, gets chopped. I just said that to the same woman that had she's like, we're earning iPad time. From last night, the woman from last night, and I was like, what if you, so how long can they have? I don't know, she said like maybe an hour a day. It is not a reward or a punishment, ever. You can have an hour a day. The only rule is it can't be at 8 o'clock at night when it's time for bed. It can't be during dinner. Otherwise, you get to pick the hour. Doesn't matter how good you are, you can't get more time. Doesn't matter how bad you are, you can't get less time. It's an hour. If an hour is your rule, you get an hour. You could do it in 5 20-minute increments. You could do it in 61-minute increments. You could do it in 2 30-minute increments. You could do it all at once. You get to decide. She's like, so then we don't fight over it? No. So you know you get an hour all the time. You can't earn more. You can't take it away. They're like, oh. You should see parents go, oh, okay. Because that's like a fight. Because, right, a lot of parents, more so than teachers, because we can't necessarily take stuff away, although we do. But parents are putting all their effort into taking stuff away and putting it, like, up on the fridge. Like, they're thinking, what's the thing that will make my kid the saddest, that my kid loves the most? I have to find out what that is and take it away and hope it changes the behavior. But you forgot the whole teaching piece. And so now you're doing it out of fear, right? Another mom in this meeting said, oh, I found Legos on top of, in my cabinet today after, oh, they've probably been there 6 months. Probably didn't work then. If they're still there and you forgot about them, your kids probably forgot about them. They said we took all of their Matchbox cars away. All of them. Like, she's like, there's probably 2,000. We took them all away. And he just plays with other things. She's like, so I'm trying to think, if it's not Matchbox cars, what's the next thing I can take away? That's not where your energy should be. That's reactive. Proactive. How do we figure out how to get along better with your sister? How do we figure out how not to throw things and say bad words when you're mad? How do we figure out how not to throw the iPad when you're mad? Like, we need to do that part. And no sticker chart has ever been responsible for a real life experience or a real life learning skill. Ever. It's never been responsible for that. Oh, I can do workshops because I was put on a sticker chart. And when I tell people about sticker charts, I'm like, how many people have, like, I'm trying to think of what I could do that could be put on a sticker chart. So only speak when spoken to. Because I talk too much. So you can only speak if someone speaks to you first. I guarantee you a sticker chart's not going to help me. Because I'm 40 and I still can't do it. When I see people, I'm always like, they look friendly. And I can't wait to go and talk to them. I'm like, oh, hi! And the minute someone talks to me, I just keep going and going. And I'll leave sometimes and be like, that was too much. Oh my word, too much. But I still don't know, and a sticker chart wouldn't help me, right? What if you put people, if someone was late here, and you're like, you know what we're gonna do? You get a sticker, and if you get 4 out of 5 stickers because you're here on time, you're gonna get a donut. That might work for a couple weeks, I like donuts. But then what happens? I still can't get my act together in the morning. Still had to get up really early to get here. You still have me as an opener, and I'm terrible at opening. What time does this open?
7.
So, putting out fires. Oh, look at, I think I'm dabbing. Is that what that's called?
Yes, it's awesome.
We have a very delicate job of putting out fires behavior-wise. We do not have the job of putting out fires emotional-wise. So kids are born, I was born with this energy since the very beginning. I was funny and sarcastic and talkative and interactive and social from the get-go. Talked early, I made friends early. My mom said I wanted sleepovers at 2.5. My son couldn't ask for a sleepover at 2.5 because he couldn't say it. He couldn't make those words. So I've always been really social. If I've had play dates, it was like I won the lottery. I get excited very easily. That's how I am. So my whole life, so I was an athlete my whole life too, so I ran track and played soccer. And coaches in both sports thought, my track coach thought I was drunk a lot at practice. Because how can she come here and be like that? Like, this is serious business. I'm not a serious business kind of girl. I have to wear a full-on bodysuit to run. Anybody want to do that? Like, full on. And then to run a race, right? Do you know how you start in track? Like, remember, I'm in a full bodysuit right now. And I go like this, right? Runners to your mark. And now on set, what happens? My bum goes in the air, right? In a full bodysuit with someone behind me, holding my block so I don't slip when I say go. And there's people on the end watching that run at them in a full bodysuit. In practice, you run around the track till you want to throw up. So if I come here, I have to have it be fun. So my mom worked at the university at UNH when I went, and the track coach had talked to her about like maybe Meg parties too much and I'm like, what? No, that is not true. I am just like having fun here because you make me want to throw up, and I'm wearing a full-on bodysuit. Even the boys had to wear them. At least I was a girl. The boys running at you in a full bodysuit. You're gonna like, avert the eyes. Oh look! Oh my gosh! But my whole life, people have tried to, because I have the engagement and charisma and humor I have, people have always thought I was stupid. They always thought I was dumb. And I would like to think that's not true, but I was always spacey, which actually is true, and distractible and unfocused. But I think that I'm intelligent, but I've always gotten, oh, you're in, until 7th grade I was in advanced math, and that's where I fell apart. So I had a neighbor that said, you were in advanced algebra? And I was like, yeah. Why do you say it like with that face? And they said, well, I didn't know you were that smart. Why? Why would you not? She's like, because look at you. I thought I was cute. Thanks. Like, what do you mean, look at you? Look at you! So, and I have people that say, when I taught kindergarten, I had dads of friends say, oh, you're in charge of raising our future? Yes. Why do you say it like with that face again? Why does everybody have that face? So for me, people have tried to put out my fire. Kids are born with, their fire, their spirit and their fire. And I think there are some people that don't understand because of excesses or norms or deficits, right? And they try to put out the fire. The kid should have a roaring campfire. At 3.5, it's hard. 25, they'll change the world. They're going to be the kids that set the world on fire. But know that if you put out a kid's fire, how hard is it to ignite it again? Sometimes never. Sometimes you can never ignite it again. Sometimes it's over forever. But know that I'm going to have to erase this pretty dolphin bee turtle. Right in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Oh, it's like a triangle bee. So in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, this is self-esteem. To have positive self-esteem, you have to have that roaring campfire, right? But these, because you were born, I think most of you, all of you, were born human, these are authentic needs. These need to happen. This is physiological. I know people are going to be like, what are they? Safety, physical and emotional. Belongingness and love, which is relationships and environments. And they need this one last, right, to get to here, which is need to know and understand. So this is, I'm curious about why turtles do this. I'm curious about this. I'm curious about that. Right, this is the academic piece, but what happens? You can't get to the academic piece till what happens? Do you see adults that cycle through this? Keep going? Are there times you cycle through it? So my mom has been the reason that I have got to here. Because I've had a lot of people with that face say to me, you're not smart, you don't, like all those things, all those messages I heard. She must have been drinking too much, because how else would she be like that? I was like, I'm just naturally like this. And if I drank too much, you wouldn't know. I look just like this. And I'm a little more sleepy because I'm old. But otherwise, I look the same. You'd be like, wow, it's loud. It doesn't mean that I've had too much to drink. It might just be because I'm loud and feel excited. So let's make sure that we are keeping that child's fire to roaring campfire, which means we have to what? Notice our hot buttons, not excess and deficit kids. We have to use time and patience, right? We are in charge of social emotional growth with kids. Yes?
Yes.
Why does nobody else know that? We know. We all know. You get higher up in the scheme of things, and they do not. People at the very top in the government, federal government, they have no idea. And they're making the rules for us. You don't even know what a child looks like. You're not allowed to make the rules. You're in timeout. I feel like I can put adults in timeout. You can't put kids in timeout. So, we want relationships. Look, did you see that? My next packet. Relationships should be, right? The goal is we both win. It shouldn't be I win, you lose, you win, I lose, we both lose. We both lose is really sad. That means both of us tried to exert power and both of us were not winners. But the I win, you lose is sometimes it's the adult who wins and the kid loses. That's what I see a lot of times. This is my classroom and this is the way it's going to run. And what I say goes. Right, it's that dad that I talked to the other day. And I was like, you can't always win and he always loses. That just can't be how it is. Ever. And it could be you win, I lose. Have you seen the kids that are in charge of the classrooms? Mm-hmm. And the kids that make the rules at home? Mm-hmm. And you think, oh. And the parents say what? They don't do that at home. Oh, no. Of course not. First of all, because he's good by himself. And you are two parents on one kid. And he doesn't have other kids with him. And you just give in to him, right? Sometimes that happens. So I'm like, So we don't want it, I win, you lose. We don't want it, you win, I lose. We don't want both lose. It's a win-win, which means what? You have to share the power. We have to let kids say, like, this isn't working out for me. And two, they're not going to say it like that. It's going to look different. But you've got to know what it looks like when it's not working out for them. Otherwise, the relationship is off kilter. And because we're adults, a lot of adults think, I'm the bigger person, I'm going to be in charge, I'm going to win. And you're going to lose because that's not how this goes. Teaching will always be hard for you. Always. And you probably should find, I don't know, data entry or work at Walmart, I don't know. What else you can do? So are we alike or different? So these are just different ways. Like, how do I teach? Do I teach the way kids learn? If I am only auditory and visually, but I have this kid, what does he need? Tactile kinesthetic. Give him some stuff, let him move, teach him how it's appropriate, time and patience. Well, he figures it out. Needs, what sort of needs you have? Do you have a need for movement? Do you have a need for social interaction? If the kid does and you don't, do you know how to get there and adjust accordingly? Love languages, so there's 5 of them, that's a whole different workshop. But one being touch. Like, if you go to sit down and sit crisscross applesauce, have you ever seen applesauce? Nothing about it is crisscross. Anybody think crisscross will make you jump, jump? Yeah. No with the backwards clothes? No, am I too old? Did I age myself with that? Okay. So if you sit crisscross applesauce, what happens? Kids do what? Oh, she's sitting down! And right, they follow you with their bum like, yeah, woo, she's gonna sit. And we're thinking like, I don't want you near me. So right, like, are you a hugger and the kids aren't huggers and they're like, hold. Anybody not a hugger as an adult? Like, don't come near me and hug me. Me, I'm like, I want to hug all of you. Like when I saw Crystal, I was like, I want to squeeze her, I want to squeeze her. And then I was like, but I can't remember if I know that she likes chocolate and vodka, but I can't remember. But I can't remember if I'm allowed to hug her. See the things I remember? Multiple intelligences, if your multiple intelligence is naturalistic and you need to be outside, are you in a classroom that stays inside? Like, looks like it's gonna rain, we should probably stay inside. And the kid's like, my son's multiple intelligence is naturalistic. He's best outside, he's barefoot, he rarely has a shirt on. He's older now, so he wears underwear and shorts, but it used to just be like a free-for-all. And I thought, oh my gosh, if he goes to public school, they get 15 minutes outside. He's going to be like, Mommy, what did you do to me? Like, I know his naturalistic intelligence, and I had to find a school accordingly, and it's like 10 minutes away. It's a higher being watching out for my son's education, obviously. Temperament, that's the part I have to apologize to a lot of kids for, is my temperament. Some of them communication style, so I am informal and friendly, which is why I think I can be funny and say bad words. There are some people who want, like, right, that's why I filled all this up. There's some, oh, anybody really having a hard time right here? There are some people that are like, she didn't fill in the last two. I should now because someone's gonna say it on there. Aesthetic. So beauty. Where do you find beauty? And self-actualization. Those are the best. And this one's hard. This is like, woohoo! I did it! I'm the best human ever. So like Mother Teresa and Buddha, and they're up there. I'm not striving for up there. I'm going that way. Handbasket, like. Someone told me once in a Catholic school, there's 3 places you can go, and I was like, tell me more. I know about the 2. They go up, or I can go down, and they say right below down, there's like party hell. And I was like, oh, I am going there! Like, is Madonna gonna be there? Like, who else will be there? Because although 7 deadly sins, no, the 10 commandments, what, I don't even know which ones you're supposed to follow. Whatever those are. I didn't do any of them. Right, like love your neighbor and no adultery or something, and don't. Oh, a stealing one? Because if stealing's one, I'm better now. So, no, that was little I used to steal. Not little, like older than little. Yeah. So communication style. So like this is how I am, and then my husband, I think I'm way funnier than my husband thinks I am. Because of my communication style. If somebody asked him, who's funnier, your wife or you, he would say him. Nobody thinks that. But he would say him. And I get all fired up, and I was like, no! I am so much funnier than you. And if I laugh at him ever, he's like, see, I told you I was funny. I didn't say you weren't funny. I'm just way funnier. What am I good at? So, does your classroom have stuff the kids are good at? Do they love dinosaurs? Yeah. Are there dinosaurs all the time in your classroom, and you're like, oh, that's not the theme this month or week, so we're gonna take out the dinosaurs, and the kids are like, where the F the dinosaurs go? There were dinosaurs here. When I taught kindergarten, I had 3 parents at open house come in and ask, do you have a train table? Like 3 in a row, and I thought, bink, like I should probably get a train table because 3 parents just asked. And so I did, I got a train table. I put it in, and we had trains downstairs. And the kids came in, these 3 kids were like, oh, they were best friends, and they always were at the train table. And it took up a lot of room, and so I lost this conversation. Now, knowing what I know now, I would not lose it again. They said, we should move the train table out. And I was like, oh, I don't think those 3 are gonna like that. They don't know what else to do. And they're like, well, they're gonna be forced to do something else. I could barely do trains here till, like, they were only there from like till noon, and then they went home because they were having a harder time with social aspects of the world, and I was like, oh, but they're doing so good on the train table, and so we ended up taking out the train table, and those kids came in on Monday like from 8 to 12, they just did this. They had no idea what to play with. They were like, where's the train table? And we were like, oh, we took it out so you guys can play with other stuff. And they're like, oh, I did not get a memo. What? Like, right, they loved trains. And so now I'm trying to find out different ways to incorporate trains, but I'm like, we already had it. And I could have built curriculum on that. Now I'm trying to build the trains into the curriculum, which is a little harder than doing it the other way. And so what are we good at? For kids who are good at movement, is there a lot of independent places where they can use it and go and do it? If they're really good at math, is there like a lot of math things out all the time? Not just like when it's a special unit or a special theme, or, right? Because you know what's coming up? September. There'll be a lot of apples out there. A lot of apples. And a lot of colored leaves. I can't wait to see them all. When I go in, they're like, we're doing apples! I want to be like, because it's September. Like, and then I'm thinking, like, do they not eat apples in January? I don't know. What are you motivated by? So I'm motivated by acceptance. So I used to say, I don't like when people say, like, good job, Meg, that was a great workshop. My outside voice will say, oh, thank you, I'm glad you liked it. Inside I'm going, because I am excited that you liked it and it wasn't awful and we have to have 18 or 20 hours? 18 hours, we have to have 18 hours. And it's better if they're fun. And it goes by quick. Like I just looked at the clock and I was like, what? It's almost done already? Like I like when it's like that. Imagine for 2 hours I just sat here and read off this. Ugh. And the ideal environment, what is it? What kind of colors does it have? What kind of feel does it have? Is it a toddler classroom that smells like poop? Like what? So, because if you're in the toddler classroom, you don't know it smells like poop.
That's true.
But when you leave and you come back, you're like, whoa! Who pooped in their pants? I love what people say. They're like, I smell poop, and I always say, because I think I'm funny, I always say, it wasn't me, I didn't do it. You want to check? Right, because you always go like this and check. Do you think he came in because I said poop? And then he was like, what is happening in there? And so the last one we'll go real quick is self-sacrificing. So we do that a lot in early childhood. So last night at this meeting, these two moms were like, okay, so I always get to yelling. I'm always yelling. I'm always stressed. They're stay-at-home moms. The husband of one and the boyfriend of the other do a lot of hours at their jobs, so they feel like they're with their kids 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I said, what sort of self-care do you do? Are you good at self-care? And they both went, no! Huh. And I said, well, that's one of the pieces of how not to get to yelling, is what sort of self-care are you doing? I said, is this self-care right now? That's why I'm doing these meetings, because even if you don't really need help with your kids, because you know what you're doing, which is nobody ever, right? I need help with my kids, and I know what I'm doing. I'm thinking, they said, we said it was started early and we said it ended late. So they had a beer beforehand and then they came and then they learned what they had to learn. And then I'm like, if you tell the people on the other end that you're going back to that it ended at 9:30 because we had a lot to say, I will support you in that time difference. I will help you with that. Right? Because they were like, we don't do any sort of self-care. And where does the self-care have to come from? So some of it is physical, like some people want to go to the gym. I feel like I did that for 12 years. I don't want to ever go back to a gym. I belong to one. Does that count? Oh, good. Because I belong to the Planet Fitness. I haven't been in forever. And I live on the beach, so people are like, do you run on the beach? Nope, do not do that. I look at it, does that help too? So I have a beach body from the gym and from living across the street from the beach. No, that's not true. So is there a physical aspect to it? Is it a spiritual, not just a higher being, but like spiritual, like what fuels your heart? What sort of things do you need spiritually? Like, right, meditation, yoga, what sort of things fuel your heart in a spiritual way? And it doesn't always have to be religion. Social, that is where mine is. Like, I need to be with people all the time. If I work from home too many days in a row, I want to poke my eyeballs out because I'm like, I keep seeing the same two people. They live here all the time. I need to find other people. And you'll know because you'll get like a random message from me. Like, I've been here too long and I need some friends. Nutritional. So what are we, in early childhood we don't eat the best food. And the kids don't eat the best food and we're the role models for that. Intellectual, so what fuels your brain? Like this stuff fuels my brain. Reading articles or shorter books, because I'm not good at long books, fuel my brain. Emotional, what sort of, right, love languages would be an emotional one. What sort of things do you need in the world so you are emotionally stable, so you can meet this, right? So you can, your self-esteem can be there. So what sort of things are happening for you in those, and then how are you meeting them? And how are you getting there? And who do you have to talk to? What do you have to spend? How do you get to the next place so you're like, I'm coming in here and I've fueled myself because now I have to be responsible for nurturing others? And I can't do that when I don't nurture myself first. Right? In early childhood, we pick the people that are really, 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 really good at nurturing. But they forget that nurturing yourself is important and not selfish. So we see it as selfish. And I see a lot of people that just nurture all the time and then go home and nurture their family and go back to school and nurture. And I'm like, woo, when was you? When did you happen? And people are always like, me? I don't know what you mean. I'm like, when did you go for a walk on the beach or go sit and have lunch by yourself or